And I think the biggest thing for working moms is that we have to give ourselves grace. You can't be everything, and you really have to take care of yourself.
Welcome to the Real Estate Ish Show. I have a really fun guest today. One of my favorite people that I met in a mastermind, Daniela Sumbera. She came all the way here from Houston. We are here this week for a mastermind together, and you decided to stop by and be on the show. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here. I mean, truly is. As soon as you asked, I'm like, of course, I will be there in a heartbeat.
How was you said you worked the whole flight. What were you working on?
I was working on some amazing opportunities for our clients for next year. So just seeing how we can really implement them. And so we had to work that. And then I did finish reading the book that we're going to talk about in the next coming days.
What did you think of the book?
I really liked it. I feel like there was just really good key points that they talk about, that I think actually turn them into scripts. So I did pause and turn them into scripts. And something that I sent out to my team right away. Jeb
Blunt's amazing. I mean, he's a really good sales coach. He follows a Sandler type method, which I really believe in. I think it's a really cool, very non-pressure, hey, only if it makes sense type of an approach.
Well, and I think like you said, it has to be only if it makes sense, because at any point, if you feel pressured by anyone in any kind of industry that you're trying to do, people back off because they feel like you're not about them. It's about themselves.
Especially if you're in sales, I recognize it really fast when it's like, okay, you're definitely only about yourself. And I struggle with that as a human being. I like connecting with people like you because you're very genuine. I struggle with people that aren't genuine. Yeah. And you can see through people really fast sometimes. And you were very welcoming to me, being the new person in the mastermind. But tell me more about you. So you're married. You say you've been married for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Your husband's not Hispanic, but you are.
Yeah.
That's where people get your last name mistaken.
That's correct.
You have two girls, right?
Two girls, Madam and Mallory. One is a rule follower and the other one's a rule breaker.
And now, between you and your husband, who's the rule follower and who's the rule breaker?
I'm the rule breaker.
Are you?
Down. Yes. Well, I'm the rule breaker in life because I'm always just try. What if they tell you no, right? I just always push the limits. Yeah. He's very a rule follower. He's very I'm like, you and I could never be Bonnie and Clyde because you will rat me out in a heartbeat.
He'll save his hide.
Yes. But I would say I'm very rule follower when it comes to my real estate world. I'm very by the book, code of ethics. But what I say is I like to push and get
the limits.
The limits. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I also colored outside of the lines too. I mean, I used to always walk right into the suites and walk into events in backstage places. If you just pretend like you know what you're doing, most people are like, oh, that guy must know somebody or know something.
You did that. We did that together.
Did we?
Yes.
I don't remember.
With Sarah Blakely.
Oh, we did. Oh my gosh, you're right.
You just walk in.
Oh yeah, we just walked right into that room. Yeah. We did not belong. Belong's a strong word, but we weren't part of the badge that allowed us to get in.
Yes, and we totally did.
And we also got photos with her.
So that's where I say I like to push my limits of saying, hey, if you really want something, you gotta get out of your comfort zone.
I married somebody like that. My wife, Becky's a lot like that. And she's not as bad as me though. I will push too far sometimes for her, she has to kind of calm me down and vice versa. It really has to do with what you want at the time. Yeah. You kind of want what you want and you're willing to go get it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. 100%.
So what do you want? What is it that drives you?
Great question. So for me, I just easily is nonprofits. I love giving money away. I love giving money. I love giving other people's money. But it really, honestly, it just started with how to give to nonprofits on a small scale, really small scale. And I was would sell my girls' clothing to raise stuff. I would take my girls' clothes to give it to a nonprofit. And I was like, man, I can do bigger things. I know I can do more than what I'm doing. And also I'm doing it on my husband's income.
What does he do for work?
Well, he runs emergency services. So he runs a section of the county of Houston and runs it. Nice. But I mean, he does well, but nonetheless, it was I'm nonstop, right? There's no stop to these projects. So I'm I'll just get into real estate. It's so easy. done.
It'll fund all of my charity.
It'll fund all my dreams. And then I was like, oh my God, this is so hard.
What year was that?
That was 2014.
And your daughters were just being born?
They were 3 and 1.5.
Oh, wow. What an interesting time to start a career.
Very interesting. So
did you get a nanny?
No.
Wow.
No nanny.
You brought them along, huh?
Just, I would take them along. And boy, it was really hard because I quickly learned, first of all, this is not a part-time job. It's a disservice to the client, but also I love this. I really love taking care of people. And by the way, this helps me fund all my things I really want to do. So that was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I can make my own schedule. I can be there for my girls. I can, by the way, now I'm growing a business. And so it all has changed.
What's your favorite way to give? Like what are you most passionate about? I mean, the nonprofit world's huge, right? There's pets, there's children, there's
homeless. I feel like it really, it makes me sad. Like I think in any part of the world, when you see kids, laying on the street on, sleeping on underneath a cardboard, and here in my area, there's currently 900 kids are homeless, and you don't see that because I don't see those kids in the streets, but yet nonetheless,
it's a huge issue. So I was part of an organization years ago. I honestly can't even remember the name of it, but it was one of my favorite organizations here in town. And there was some big stat, and it had to do with a gap in the system in Arizona. And I don't know about Texas, but there was a gap in the system, and it was either 21 or 18 when certain services kicked in for homeless. But before that, there wasn't really services available. Yeah. But there was this whole gap of kids that were homeless and runaways that had no services, that were just living by the, however they can get by. And this charity focused on them. And I got to go to some of these houses they lived in and make dinner with them and hang out with them. I think it's really cool that you have a passion for that.
Well, it just breaks your heart. You're a product of your circumstances. And unfortunately, they don't have that choice. They weren't, it's not like they had a choice to be homeless, a choice that if their
parent situations are drugs, alcohol, death. I mean, all kinds of abuse.
Lots of, people lose their jobs. I've had where I've seen that, parents, they live in small towns, and it takes one family member that gets really ill, that now that's the caretaker, they lose their job. I mean, it's snowballs. So I see that need, but it just breaks my heart to see kids not having, a shelter, a home, food. And I feel like that's not.
Are you on the board? Do you just give money? Do you give time? How do you help?
Above.
Yeah.
So I am on the board. I'm on the board of directors for this wonderful nonprofit. I also like to give money. My favorite way is to fundraise because I match it. So it's a really great way to give a lot, right?
Do you incorporate your real estate world into that?
100%.
With your clients?
Absolutely. Yeah. Every client knows that when they choose us with their most intimate financial investment, that they're making a difference in the community. And I'm like, how cool is that?
How has that helped you build your team?
It helps when you find people who are on the same path as you are, and they're in culture with that mission. I think I've learned through mistakes is that some people are money driven, and I think money is great, right? Money is good for what the good that it can do. But if you're just driven by money and no other big whys or passions,
it's hollow for sure.
There we go.
I mean, very hollow. I mean, it's there's a better word. It's interesting. This won't relate very well, but I had an experience where I flew on a private jet. I got picked up by a driver, went and stayed in a really nice house, went on a really nice yacht, and I was sitting there and eating guacamole from a chef that made the food. And I remember thinking to myself, this is cool and it's a fun experience and it looks good on the gram, but the amount of work it would take for me to pay for all of this compared to the amount of fulfillment I'm getting out of today isn't worth it. I think sometimes people tie their happiness, their joy to those material things and that lifestyle. But once you have it, sure, whatever, right? It's nice to have, but I mean, it would take a lot of work and sacrifice to get there. And some people are driven by those things. And turning 40 was really eye-opening for me because being 20 years old doesn't feel like that long ago. So that means 60 is going to be right around the corner really fast. And then all of a sudden you're 80 and it's like you're preparing for your last years. And so it's I'm just realizing how fast life goes. And I have family that's billionaires and I've got family that lives in mobile homes. I mean, I've seen both.
Yeah.
And it's given me a different perspective on money.
Well, and it's even like, what is your legacy? And I think when you get into like thinking those kind of big thoughts, right? Because I think most people don't think about it until they're dying. Like, well, what was my legacy?
Yeah.
And when you realize, hey, I actually can take control of what my legacy will be.
Yeah.
How huge is that?
How has that affected your relationship with your daughters?
Well, I think for one, they see it. They have a really hardworking mom. I'm not your traditional mom. I have zero crafty bones in my body. So if a project needs to be done, it's not going to be done by me. I don't cook. I actually have leveraged that out to have someone else that will come and cook.
Talk to me about that. How has that affected your family life?
It's been great. The best thing ever. Because here's the thing. I was wrapping up my days in the office 6 o'clock in the evening, 5, 6. By the time you get home, even if I have everything ready to cook, it's still 1 hour, 1 hour and a half.
And you're tired.
You're exhausted.
Some days.
Now you're just eating. Like you're just trying to now you got homework and kids and, home.
What does that process look like? And I genuinely want to know because I'm very interested in that. Yeah. What does it look like finding a chef or finding what does that process look like? How much does it cost?
Oh my God. She's my unicorn. Yeah, tell me about this. I share it because I'm like, I should keep it a secret. But I'm like, no, I need to tell the world because it really could change your life. I mean, change our life. Instead of going to bed at midnight, we're going home at a reasonable time. And now we get to have sit down dinners. We all get to, as a family, get to pick it out. So how I did it is I actually posted on my neighborhood page that I was looking for someone to parent me, and kind of quote unquote, I was trying to make it funny, keep it light, and just saying, hey, I'm looking for someone to come cook at our house. My house is kid friendly. Someone that knows that is, skilled in cooking, can be consistent with their schedule, coming to my house, just it's very welcoming, loving home. So if you think that's you, let me know. And I actually did have a couple people apply or, just submit their information. And I have Miss Jamie, who has been I love her.
Yeah.
I love her.
What does a chef like that cost?
Well, she's really amazing. She charges me by the hour.
Okay.
We come up on Sundays. What we're going to cook, we usually do 3 to 4 meals a week. We put them in the shopping cart. They get delivered Monday morning. She comes Monday mornings around 9 o'clock, 9:30. And she just cooks every meal. Every meal is labeled, put in the fridge. When I get home, it's all there.
So she spends all of Monday.
Yeah, all of Monday. And then she'll come on Wednesdays to see what needs to be addressed in the house, whether, restocking stuff and groceries,
Does she put the list together on Sunday or do you do all the shopping?
We do it together. We have our HEB app, our grocery app. So we know what needs to be added. She knows hey, you're going to be out of half and half by this week. So she's really amazing. She does things that comes up with.
It's $20 an hour, $30 an hour.
$30 an hour.
Okay.
She's really good.
Worth every penny.
She's worth a lot more. So that's a conversation I like.
What's her phone number? Just kidding.
She's amazing.
Will you tell it on the podcast for everybody to know? Just kidding.
I've actually said, hey, can I share your number with one of my neighbors?
Yeah.
She actually has a newborn baby, but she's like, I'm good for right now. She also has little kids. So, but I think finding your Jamie who can really come and leverage your world, give you opportunities to just sit down and be with your family. And whether you're on a budget or not on a budget, it gave us an opportunity to sit down as a family and talk.
Can I ask some deeper questions?
Yeah.
Did your mom cook for you when you were growing up?
Yes.
Did you ever feel guilty that you didn't enjoy cooking and you didn't prepare food before Jamie?
Oh, absolutely. You feel like
the mom guilt, I think they call it.
Mom guilt, big time, because you're I tell my mom, sometimes laughing, sometimes in tears, how did you do it? I don't know how you worked so hard, and you would have a breakfast every morning.
They didn't have social media to distract us.
They didn't. Probably. Scrambled eggs, juice, you name it, dinners, home cooked dinners, and I'm just kind of, it's crazy. And so,
my wife's a lot like you. She's just doesn't enjoy cooking. It's not her thing.
But what I would say is just, the mom guilt was there, but I know that I could teach my girls other lessons. I'd rather give you a wonderful memory of sitting down together and actually going and talking than like having to rush home and have dinner. It's so
stress.
So luckily I just have created an opportunity for her. First of all, create a job for her, but also for me, have leverage and just kind of be able to, even create more hours for my business.
Are you religious at all?
I am.
That's something that my wife reminds me of is, back in the day, they had a lot of help at home. Like you look in the Bible in the Old Testament, they talk about servants, and that's a strong word. I mean, it's not a word we use in today's world, but I mean, they had help. And it's like in our business, we don't run our businesses on our own. Like it's okay to have help at home. At least my opinion as a father or a husband to my wife, like it's okay for her to hire help. Like managing a household and kids and getting in places, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, no one succeeds alone. So why are we just leaving it in the business side and not implementing it in our family?
Some of those strategies in the family.
100%. So.
Yeah. And I only say that for those moms listening that feel that mom guilt, because it's a real thing.
I felt like a failure because I'll tell you why. I was trying to do everything, trying to run a business, trying to come home, trying to cook a meal, trying to do everything. I was wiped out.
Yeah.
I felt very burnt out and I wasn't happy. And a happy mom is not happy for them, not good for them to see, right? Like they need to see their mom.
How often did you bring that stress from home to your work?
Quite often, right? Because we
always talk about bringing stress from work to home, right?
Yeah. But because you feel like you bring both of them, but again, as you try to grow and find that, it takes a village and the team behind you to really, help you grow and be a better person, a better you, then I had to let go of that and say, that's fine. I'm not going to cook, but I'm going to have other help and they're going to get more mommy time and they're going to get me. And so.
Do they do any sports?
They don't. They play the piano, they sing. What I'm teaching them is you're strong. I'm teaching them that you can build a business. I'm teaching them just how to be a really, really confident little ladies. And I see that every day.
It's so dangerous with social media out there. I mean, do you allow your kids on social media?
They don't. No, they're not allowed.
I mean, I've got similar age kids and we're having conversations about the teenage years and it's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are getting bullied and boys are asking for pictures of girls inappropriately and Snapchat and what's coming.
It's scary. I will say the one thing about my girls, and I'm not just saying because I'm their mom. I think maybe it's because of their school. I think it's because maybe they don't have social media apps. I think it's also because of what I'm trying to do to raise them. They're very pure. And that's something that's like, and I really genuinely mean that. Like, I mean, they're pure, like they're playing Legos or just, even I'll put myself out there. They're not that 7th grader who was already boy crazy, right?
That's interesting. Well, talk to me more about your real estate career. What, I know what drives you, right? Others and nonprofit and helping people out. And, not everybody on your team is driven that way. We're kind of going down that road. What do you do to help motivate your team members that aren't driven the same way you are?
I think, you really have to dig deep and ask them really good questions that really motivates them, because not everyone's motivated the way we are. And that's okay, because I've had, well, why don't they want it, as much as I do? Like, I don't get it. They're driven, but I'm like, you have to realize that some people don't want your life. They don't want I love it. Like, I love a crazy busy life or productive life. I don't like the word busy, but it's me. I can just hop on a plane, go here, go there. It's nonstop. And I'm okay I'm okay with that. Some people, that's not cut out for them. So then I have to realize they're not in the same, they're in culture with like giving back. They're in culture of like good people and hard workers, but their goals might not be the same as my goals. So then I have to realize that. So like, for example, we were going over with one of them, and their thing is they want more hours back. So they want to net the same amount of money, but they want more hours.
Interesting. So they're getting paid more. They want more freedom.
Yes.
More time.
So it's like,
those are great questions to ask.
Figure out how do I want to make the same amount, but I just want more time. I want to work, instead of 40 hours, I want to work 36 hours.
Interesting.
Or whatever it is. So those are the things.
What does your team makeup look like?
It's 2 buyer's agents. Okay. I have my admin, transaction coordinator, and marketing coordinator.
And your marketing coordinator, what does she do to help make you successful?
Just do all like social media, like all the things that we should be posting and talking about, things that are relevant, because I'm not keeping up with like what's the song of the week or what's the trending.
Is she younger?
Yeah, a little bit younger. What's the trending hashtag or what's the trending word, right? Like, because I mean, if you're wanting to keep up with that, just because I feel like it's me. I love social media because it's been a great way for me to just reach so many people in my sphere, but it's also something that doesn't come natural. So I have to have something.
I feel like you're really good at it. That's funny that you say that. What have you seen success from her position?
From her, for me or for the team?
Whatever, yeah. I guess how do you measure if she's successful?
I think we measure it, for one, is we see it on the analytical side, like what are we getting, the interaction from your Instagram, Facebook, other social media platforms. But also I think it's really in the conversations that we have, like when you talk to people and they're saying, hey, we're seeing you, we love what you're doing.
The branding.
And so I think that's where I feel like I'm making a bigger impact,
What's the name of your brand in Houston? Like the team name? You guys have the
Sumbera team.
Sumbera team.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was asking. What's the name of your brand?
I meant like the marketing. Yeah, I'm like, no, yeah, she's with me. Yeah, the Sumbera team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys have done all your brand colors. You've gone through all that, right?
We keep it very clean and simple, black and white, and people recognize it. Well, sometimes I worried when I first rolled out with it that it felt very clean and simple. Mm-hmm. But when I see people take pictures and send them to me, I'm like, they recognize it now. So that's pretty cool.
That's really good. What do you do to generate leads?
Social media, sphere of influence. I would say I'm the unofficial mayor in my community and
what does that mean?
I'm known everywhere. And I say that very humbly. Mm-hmm. I made it my mission that I was going to be out there and be that face. Like, I mean, let's dive into the social media side and the face of it. Like, walk me through what that looks like. Like a realtor is like, I would love to bring that on. I'd love to start doing that. I'd love to add that. What does that mean? Are you interviewing restaurant owners? Like, what are you doing out there to? Well, so for one, I actually did start out with interviewing every local business owner.
Okay.
And they have become some of my best clients just because I know them, I promoted them. But really what I made it my mission that I was going to attend and be everywhere. Like if there was a festival, I was there. If there's
branded with your everything.
Oh, everything. Yeah. There's no choice. I have my uniform. I call it it's so easy. My polo, I wear it everywhere. So then it becomes easy. It's an easy way to, start a conversation with someone because you see the polo and you quickly ask, how's the real estate market going? So that was one way, but I just everywhere, like you name it, I'm everywhere. And my cell phone, you can find, I have the phone numbers to anyone that like runs the city. And I truly mean that. Like,
I mean, Houston's a big town. Are you talking about like a small part of Houston or Houston?
I'm talking like mayors, district attorney, you name it. I know them. I'm very.
So the word of mouth that comes from that probably has really helped you also.
Well, I think that, but also I think people have to know that, you're trustworthy to be in their circles. And that's one thing I'm like, I know them. I always say I'm a really good friend. I'm a really good, and I say that genuinely. If I'm your friend, if I'm your person, like there's nothing that I would not do for you. And like, it can go unsaid that like whatever you tell me stays with us.
And I sense that about you. We started the podcast off talking, I don't know if it was before we started the show or not, but we started talking about how important genuineness is to me. And I recognize that in you. Yeah. You're a very genuine person.
Thank you.
And that probably goes a long way. I actually, what's interesting, bringing it back to Jeb Blunt, is I think that's one of when I'm hiring salespeople, I like to hire people that are very genuine, that come off very confidence, the wrong word, but trustworthy and genuine. I think it is one of the number one character traits of a salesperson. Yeah. You gotta be genuine and be like that type of personality.
Yeah.
It goes so far because if there's any level of doubt, like doubt is fear. I mean, you talk about religious, right? But like doubt turns into fear, which turns into trust issues. And it's like, yeah, I'm going this direction.
Yeah. You have to trust your people. So I feel like people trust me. So like they like me, they trust me, but and not even on the business world, but it's turned into the business where they're like, hey, I can trust you. I can talk to you and tell you anything, whether good secrets, bad secrets, whatever it is, it's all usually all good. But nonetheless, it's like, I think when you get to that level and it's genuine, but you've learned to master it, then people, it just works really well. But also I have to sleep with myself at night. So I always have to say, like, was I a good person today? And I have to give myself an answer, yes, So I say that's a huge thing. You have to be able to conduct yourself on a daily basis where you're proud of yourself. I mean, you're not going to have best days, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, you have to just be a good person. And that's one thing I want to be.
Well, you are on the Real Estate Is show. Have you thought about your word or words? It could be up to 6 words. People cheat on that. And knowing you're going to try to figure out how to do more than 6 words. But
I would say unlimited potential.
Talk to me more about that.
Well, I had this conversation with my uncle, and my uncle comes from, this is my dad's brother. This is a man who is one of 8 kids, grew up very poor. Talks about like their home was like on dirt, like the flooring was dirt, they didn't have even a lock on their door. And he has successfully grown an textile empire. Like, I'm talking like he has the chefs, the drivers, like 24/7, just has grown that. He's still the most giving person I know. But when I met with him, he was at that one person in his family that broke that,
the ceiling. Yeah.
Yep. 100%. And he's created generational wealth for his family, his siblings, And when he and I had a conversation at his company, at his warehouse, he built I'm making up a number, but think of a giant warehouse for Amazon. Like, it was a new one that they just built, and it's state of the art. Like, it has lifts, bells and whistles. But I came in town. He really wanted to show it to me. And that's a big thing. If you know him, he's just he has his daily routine. And for him to kind of break it, because he said, hey, I really want you to see it. So I went out there to go see it. And he said, you know what, I admire you. And I was like, that's huge. He said, because you are doing very well. You're growing something. And he said, but you look at my business, I'm capped. My machines can only make so much, right? Like, there's only so much product I can make. And he said, you have the potential to like be limitless. Like, you can grow your business as much as you want to, because you can just grow. And so I was like, oh my gosh, well, what an honor, like, that you think of me and that you would give me that kind of, positive advice, and just to have that faith in me that I'm the next one in my family to be helping everyone grow.
That was really cool. I really like that answer. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. This has been really neat. And I like that we're able to get deep about you being a mom and a working mom. I think, the audience here are top real estate agents. And I think there are a lot of top real estate agents that are working moms.
Oh, and I think the biggest thing for working moms is that we have to give ourselves grace. You just have to give yourself grace. You can't be everything, and you really have to take care of yourself. And that sounds so selfish because you're a mom. Yeah. You're already like kind of trained.
And a wife. Don't forget about the wife part.
You're trained to be like, everything for everyone, and you're supposed to come last. And I had to just learn that I can't come last, because if I'm last, then I'm giving everyone 50% and I'm not giving them 100%.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. It was wonderful.